Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done when it comes to the creation of a brand new book by January 1st, 2021. And that's my goal. So I've been doing live streams ever since March 5th of 2020, every single night, doing a little bit of something to work forward in my book in one form or another. Some nights I'm designing, some nights I'm writing, some nights I'm dealing with a little bit of editorial cleanup and stuff like that. But every night I'm advancing the ball of my book toward the end zone. And that end zone, as I said, is January 1st, 2021, when I guarantee that I will be uploading press-ready PDFs to Amazon's Kindle Direct publishing platform for self-publishing of this brand new book. What's that book called? Well, it's right there. It's called NONFICTION BRAND, Discovering, Crafting, and Communicating the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And yeah, so that's what I'm working on. So there. Tonight, what am I going to be doing tonight? Well, first of all, you don't need to see my entire messy office down here. Instead, you can see the cropped in version, which hides some of the magic that is Nonfiction Brandversity, or put it this way, my office at any rate. And there, that's much prettier. So I'm looking at my screen here at the book and stuff that I'm going to be working on. But first, I'm going to open up Restream Chat, which will allow me to answer any questions you might have. Just type in any questions or comments into the chat box or the comment box wherever you're viewing this, because it is going out live to YouTube Live, Twitch, and Facebook Live. So you might be watching it on Facebook, you might be watching it on YouTube, or you might be watching it on Twitch. Well, you're probably playing Call of Duty on Twitch or Fortnite or something like that. Anyway, what am I doing tonight? I'm looking at Scrivener, the application I'm using to actually write this book. Come on, why aren't you working? There we go. And this is what Scrivener looks like. I do the writing over here, and then I've got various sections of the book over here, and it really is a great tool, and I really recommend it for anybody who might be interested in writing a book. A lot of professionals, a lot of actual writers use Scrivener to write books. It makes it so much easier. So I'm looking, and you can see a lot of these. I'll get my head out of the way. You can see every section has a flag. Red means, hey, I haven't written it yet. Yellow means it's just started. Blue means it's done but has not been final proofed or edited. And then green, which you can see a bunch of up here, that means that I've actually more or less done a first pass edit and everything else on that section. So technically it's good to go for the book. Let's see. I've been writing a bunch of different stuff, cleaning up some things. What you do, how you do it. It's a pretty long section. And it's blue. I don't want to touch that yet. Strategic authenticity. I was actually in here before I got started tonight, working through it a little. And yeah. All right, so I think I'm going to work on this section. And that means I'm going to go into kind of edit mode rather than writing mode, because it truly is a different mode of operation. And so I'm going to be reading it aloud, because that's frankly how I discover whether what I've written is smooth and flows or if it doesn't. You know, a lot of people will say, well, how can I tell if my copy flows, or how can I tell if my writing flows? My answer to that is read it aloud. And every time you stumble, that's a part you should be fixing, because if you can't say it, you can't read it, or it's not optimized for reading either. So, and plus, I like to have a very vocal style of writing. So, having it said out loud by myself, literally, the words fit in my mouth. That's the way I think of it. Back when I was an actor, I would always have trouble until I felt the words fit my character's mouth. And that's a whole can of worms I don't want to open up. But let's just say this. It's not yours until you can say it without stumbling. So take a look at your copy like I'm going to do right here and see how it flows. So I'm going to start and make changes along the way as I come up to stumbles and stuff like that. Strategic authenticity. Is there such a thing? Is it even possible to be both strategic in your goals and authentic in your execution at the same time? Some people would say no, that to be authentic, you must let go of all restraint and live a life completely unfettered by bourgeois considerations. To be truly authentic for some is to wallow in self. I'm just telling you exactly what I feel at this exact moment in time. That is not authenticity. That's therapy. On the other hand, there are jaded operators for whom life is little more than a series of chess moves. A serious, oh my gosh, that's a funny autocorrect. For whom life is little more than a series of chess moves in a zero-sum game that they are determined to win. Everything is a calculation or sales opportunity. The only giving they do is in expectation of a much bigger get, defined by an unhealthy cynicism and an everybody lies, cheats, is in it for themselves worldview. Such Darwinian survival of the fittest excuse the worst in human behavior as good if it helps secure some strategic Machiavellian outcome. I'll be honest, I can't stand those type of narcissistic manipulators either. There's got to be a better way, and there is. A balanced form of having your strategic cake and living it authentically too. I call it strategic authenticity. Not no stutter. There we go. Strategic equals having a plan. Authenticity, executing your plan in a way that feels exactly right. That feels, comma, and fits you exactly right. I don't like that sentence. Executing your plan in a way that feels exactly, that feels right. Get rid of the exactly. Executing your plan that feels. This is where I'm going to hit my dictionary because I'm like, oh, I need another word for authenticity. Authenticity. Genuine. That's that feels. How about genuinely? Genuinely you. Yeah, that's good. I want to create a personal brand is not a strategy. It is a tactic that can help you achieve strategic goals. So doesn't it make more sense to focus on the goals first? Of course it does. And yet so many people don't. Or they select goals, that are little more than dreams. A dream is not a goal, but it can help identify the hard goals necessary to achieve said dream. But it can help identify the hard goals needed to achieve said Dream. The hard executional goals needed. Yo to you, another viewer TV. Nice to see you chiming in. What's going on? I'm writing a book. Yeah. So nice to see you on Twitch there, another viewer TV. Yeah, I'm writing a book in front of you right now. If you have any questions about it, please chime in. And this book is about building a personal brand. So another viewer TV. You might be wanting to brand yourself by getting rid of your anonymous name. Yeah, exactly. And build something that actually applies to you directly. There's nothing wrong with anonymity. But if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, building a personal brand can really help you level yourself up in whatever you're doing personally or professionally. So anyway, I'm going through this section of the book. It's nice to have you on. And I welcome your questions. So cool. Anyway, strategic equals having a plan. Authenticity equals executing your plan in a way that feels genuinely you. All right, I want to create a personal brand is not a strategy. It is a tactic that can help you achieve strategic goals. So doesn't it make more sense to focus on the goals first? Of course it does, and yet so many people don't. Or they select goals that are little more than gauzy, amorphous dreams. A dream is not a goal, but it can help you identify the hard executional goals work needed to achieve said dream. That makes sense? Let me put it another way. To say, I want to climb Mount Everest is a goal, but not one you can achieve without creating an actionable strategy that can get you there. If you've never ever climbed a mountain of any size, taking on the tallest in the world as your first is a losing strategy. But coming up with an overall plan that can take you from the first hike up your first mountain all the way to the summit of Mount Everest requires a master strategy and a smart list of tactical steps that are executed that can then be executed with excellence. Who believe life? Don't confuse vision with strategy. In most cases, vision is another more business-friendly word for dream. Let's put that in parens for dream. Having a vision is absolutely necessary when it comes to creating your personal brand, but because it becomes the North Star upon which every decision you make should be oriented. So what's your vision? What do you want to be? What do you want to be and do in life? That singular goal is going to allow you to organize all your efforts in one direction in order to achieve it. What singular goal is going to allow you to organize all your efforts in one direction in order to achieve it? This question is paramount, and the way you answer it is foundational to the creation of your strategic authenticity. Authenticity's evil twin, TMI, too much information. The word authenticity has many meanings. Depending on who you're talking to, it could mean anything from keeping it real, whatever that means, to oversharing about every aspect of your life, all the way down to your medical history. In some cases and places, that can make sense and be incredibly freeing. In others, not so much. Strategic authenticity is about those not so much situations. Let me point to another real-world example, which you may or may not like. I was working as a creative director at an agency and had hired a new kid right out of college. Great personality, diligent and ambitious, and an avid user of Instagram. I made the mistake of following her there because we were and still are friends, and she did not report directly to me. I made the mistake of following her there because we were and still are friends. because that still are doesn't make the fact that we still are doesn't really matter, and it messes up the sentence, so I'm getting rid of it. I made the mistake of following her there because we were friends, and she did not report directly to me. At the time, I made it a habit not to follow subordinates, plural, possessive, social media accounts, the same way I elected not hang out with them after work. I'm sure you can guess all the reasons why, which I'd sum up in 3 little letters, TMI. Were I a member of the CIA, I would absolutely love social media. With innocent post after innocent post, users inadvertently drop single, seemingly insignificant data points over and over, 24/7, 365. All you have to do is pay just a little bit of attention, and you'll be able to assemble a hefty dossier on even the most savvy social user. This friend of whom I write was/is certainly socially savvy, but boy howdy, did she ever drop data? One day, in an attempt to give her a little unwanted fatherly advice, I made a simple suggestion about her Instafeed. I'm going to make this a different sentence. Instafeed. Give it a colon. Take a look at your last 50 posts. Count the number that featured or featured. Do I want featured? What appeared to be an alcoholic drink as one. I got to reform this whole sentence because I'm messing up with everything. I made a simple suggestion about her Instafeed. That's what I'll do. That she should take a look at her last 50 posts, count the number that featured her holding what appeared to be an alcoholic drink or what could possibly be construed as one. Then consider the ratio of pics with to pics without. She was more than a little insulted, and I'm not sure if she ever took me up on the challenge, but I did, and the answer was somewhere north of 50%. It may not be fair, but many companies today are scouring applicants' social feeds for exactly such intelligence and making hiring decisions appropriately. With fully half of your Insta posts suggesting that you're a pretty heavy... with half of your Insta posts suggesting you're a pretty heavy drinker? Again, not fair, but if you've got 2 applicants for the same position and one has revealed a little too much information, TMI, about their leisure activities, and one is squeaky clean, who are you going to hire? A couple of years later, I actually witnessed a similar thing happen, only this time it was TMI on Facebook. The guy was a highly qualified manager who, unfortunately, was also highly prone to let's say dabble in political conspiracy theories on Facebook. We've already got Facebook established. Don't need to say it twice. In theory. In political conspiracy theory. Theories. In a variety of political conspiracy theories. He was a finalist for a position in a nonprofit organization. At the same time, he was rather loudly questioning the validity of nonprofits as business entities on Facebook, where anyone who did a basic search of his name could see it. Too bad about that job, dude. Too much information, too. Am I saying that the woman who authentically enjoyed having a cocktail or two during off hours should suddenly go teetotal? Or that Mr. Fair and Balanced should never voice his opinion? Absolutely not. But please, 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 at least put that through your strategic authenticity prism before posting. So what elements make up a sound authenticity strategy? The quickest answer to this question is this whole book. It's filled with ideas, frameworks, and suggestions and processes that can help you. But let's just focus on 3 important aspects of any well-founded authenticity strategy. 1, the varnished truth. Do you have one of those friends who always tells the truth regardless of the fallout? And keeping it real jerk who may in fact be telling the 100% truth, but evidently does not have a tactful bone in their body? Well, we all do. We all do. They're the ones who make Thanksgiving so darn painful. And typically in conversations that and typically end their conversations typically end the conversations that led to people crying and leaving the room with, "What'd I say?" And typically end the conversations that led to people crying and leaving the room with, "What'd I say?" The unvarnished truth, while worshipped by some, is not always conducive to a happy, well-regulated society. Happy, well-regulated society, or satisfying long-term relationship. That's why one must have the ability to recognize the truth and how and when to shape it strategically. This last phrase is not a euphemism for lie, but a call to civility, especially in business situations. Depending where you live and work, it's likely that a full 50% of the people you work with or serve it's likely that a full 50% of the people you work with or serve are not on the same page with you, and your opinions about politics, religion, and even football teams. Knowing when, where, and how to serve the tea is an art form that many of us haven't quite mastered, but need to. I know I'm still working on it. 2, takes are best served cold. This idea is much like the one above regarding how, when, where, and what you should share about the or your truth. That's weird. I should share. Just share. Hot takes are the flash triggers of discourse. They happen when something is immediately amazing, annoying, outrageous, or the topic has great universal appeal. and hot takes are frequently wrong or at least wrong-headed. Example, you see a clickbait headline that says murder hornets have been discovered in the United States. This actually happened a couple of days ago at the time of this writing. Oh my God, murder hornets in the middle of a global pandemic? Run for your bunkers. Or don't. Fact is, the majority of those clickbait headlines are created with the goal of driving you to some kind of primary emotional state. Examples, happy, sad, afraid, surprised, and angry, just leave it angry, disgusted. A strategically authentic person can still have a take about any appropriate subject, but the strategy part is all about limiting the topics upon which you make those hot takes. Here's how that works. Let's say you're an athletic trainer who really wants to build credibility within your specific niche. First, am I going to spell niche with an accent? Let's look. Okay, niche. No accent, good. When in doubt, look it up. You'll never have a problem by pointing to a dictionary and saying, well, I looked it up in the dictionary and this is the usage they gave me. About limiting the topics upon which you make those hot takes. Here's how it works. Let's say you're an athletic trainer in your niche. First, what's your niche? Well, no, actually, it should stay. What's your niche? The hyper-focused area in which you want to specialize. Could be weight loss, endurance, performance, weight training, flexibility, cardiovascular optimization, stress handling and relief. The list goes on and on. If you're an endurance performance specialist, should you have a hot take on every new fad diet that pops up? No, because new diets pop up practically every day, and the wrong usage, and your bandwidth would be taken up by responding to something that does not matter to your core business or your core customers. Your core business or customers. But if that diet starts showing up in your neck of the woods media-wise, that's the perfect time to demonstrate your expertise. But not with a hot take, but a carefully, coolly considered response focused on providing relevant, valuable, I'm going to add the word authoritative, valuable, and authoritative information. Every journalist knows that the first report of any significant event is often partially or even completely wrong. A smart, strategically authentic person avoids that trap and fights back with the real truth. With the real truth and accompanying math. If being first means being wrong, coming in second is always the smarter place to be. 3, knowing who you are so you can be it. You just knew I was going to bring up this dual concept phrase pairing. Phrase pair? Pairing again. It is the foundational concept of nonfiction branding, after all. To be 100% authentic is laudable. To share 100% of yourself is a mistake, and for many of the reasons outlined above and throughout this book. If you truly know who you are, you know when, where, and with whom to share parts of yourself and when not to. I'm going to give that a long dash. My favorite form of punctuation is a long dash or an M dash. To me, it stops the flow and accentuates that which comes after. Personally, there's only one person. There's only one person. for myself. There's only one person on the face of the earth that gets the full feed. For better, for better or worse. Richer, poorer. Yeah, I married her. The rest of all y'all are just going to have to accept a carefully curated part of the whole. And that's exactly as it should be. Whenever I see someone oozing everything about themselves in public, I immediately raise shields. Why? Because in my experience, those super sharers are doing it all for one reason. Not this is why you need to go through it weeks after you've already written it, to gain some level of control over you. Con men have known this technique forever. By sharing the ooey gooey, they bypass your natural defenses and activate your sentimentality for their benefit. Need proof of that? Just deconstruct any political campaign, charitable initiative, or hard luck story. But when you know who you are and have a clear audience-oriented goals in mind, you can deliver without concern. You can deliver without concern the very best you can have to offer. And in a way that is immediately recognizable and ultimately appreciated by the people you've attracted to your business or service. The worst possible thing in marketing is to overpromise and underdeliver. When you truly know who you are and are being it, as demonstrated daily by the way you do the things you do, there's no chance of that. Let's work on that whole. Let's give that bold. The worst possible thing in marketing is to overpromise and underdeliver. When you truly know who you are and are being it, as demonstrated daily by the way you do the things you do, there's no chance of that happening. End of section. So that's 1991 words, which will take 7 minutes, 57 seconds to read according to this. And let me see. I figure opening up my calculator because my brain doesn't work. So what was that? 1991 divided by 350 equals, that's 5.7 pages. Add a paragraph, 5.7, that 6 to 7 pages if I add a graphic in here or an illustration or something like that somewhere. That's cool. So I'm feeling good about that. I'm going to go ahead and award this the coveted green flag icon of doneness, which again is just my way of telling myself that, hey, this section's done. Don't worry about it for the time being. Work on other stuff, like changing these blues to greens, or actually better yet, writing some of these darn reds. I've got plenty of red to write. Oh yeah. But it's coming. And I've got plenty of time too as well, because this is episode, I think, 95. Yeah, it's probably episode 95 or so, or of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301 day journey. So I've got plenty of time left to go. Over 200 days. Yeah. Crazy. 205 days, 206 days left to go. If I do 500 words a day, I got a huge book. So I don't even need to do 500 words a day. Like tonight, I didn't write anything new, but I went through and I finished this section up. Cool. Tomorrow, I may do some writing. some original writing on some of the themes that I already know I want to write about. But when I do, I'm not gonna really kill myself to try to get those 500 words done, because one, I have a plan, I have a goal, I'm working toward it every single day by coming down here and doing a live stream in front of you. So one, thank you very much for helping me stay honest to you and myself by making me come down here and do this. But also, thank you for providing me the gumption to want to do this. You know, it's a big elephant of a thing to do, but you know what they say about elephants, right? How do you eat one of those bad boys? One bite at a time. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to be doing it tomorrow night as well. So you know where I am, you know where I live. So don't be afraid to show up again. I'm always on, you know, somewhere around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.-ish Central Daylight Time here in the United States of America. I'm in the Central Time Zone. I think it's UTC -6 if you are international. But I welcome your participation and your viewing. I'd love to get to know you, so don't be afraid to write comments like another viewer TV. Another viewer TV, if you're still watching, don't be afraid to tell me your name. I won't tell anybody else, but I'm okay with you having a real name, because part of creating a nonfiction brand is owning who you are, knowing who you are, and being who you are, hiding behind an acronym, a logo, a business name, but actually stepping forward into your own personal brand spotlight and saying, this is who I am, for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, I'm DP Knudten in all my good, bad, and ugliness. And I'm here for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which, of course, comes out every Monday. This Monday's episode features the second half of a conversation with Dana Sanchez, who's really, really fun. I really enjoyed having a conversation with her. You can get the podcast wherever you get podcasts for free. It's on, you know, it's available via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you love podcasts, all you have to do is search Nonfiction Brand, and you're probably going to see it. And it's going to look a little something like this. You see where, see that picture block where it says Nonfiction Brand and my picture? Well, that's actually the cover of the book, because part of not being afraid to be in your brand spotlight is to actually be yourself. And so actually, I wrote about it in this book. You know, am I a narcissist? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But mostly, I'm stepping into my spotlight, taking credit for what I do, who I am, and how I do it. And I'm not going to be ashamed of that. You shouldn't be either. So tell me your real name. I'd really appreciate it. And I guess that's about it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, theme music, take us on out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.